The day is June 1st, 1946. Romanian dictator Ion Antonescu is about to be executed by firing squad inside Jilava Prison, just outside Bucharest. A short time ago, Antonescu had stood at the center of power. Now, he stands at the edge of history. But how does a professional officer, a man trained to defend his country, end up here, facing rifles raised in his own homeland?
Domnule general, camarazi, e cea dintâi zi, când adevărul.
Ion Antonescu did not begin his life as a dictator. He began as a soldier. Born in 1882, he entered the Romanian military at a time when the nation was still defining its place in Europe. Ambitious, disciplined, and deeply nationalistic, Antonescu built his career on the belief that Romania's survival depended on strength, order, and unity. He fought in the Balkan Wars and served during the First World War, earning a reputation as a competent, hard-line officer who believed that civilian politicians often endangered the nation through indecision. By the 1930s, that belief had hardened into conviction. Antonescu saw Romania surrounded by hostile powers, threatened internally by instability, and weakened by political corruption. To him, democracy looked less like freedom and more like vulnerability. So when Romania's territorial integrity began to collapse in 1940, Antonescu saw not only a crisis, but an opportunity. That year, Romania lost vast territories in rapid succession. The Soviet Union seized Bessarabia and northern Bukovina. Hungary claimed northern Transylvania. Bulgaria took southern Dobruja. To many Romanians, it felt as if the country was being dismantled piece by piece. King Carol II, blamed for the national humiliation, abdicated in September 1940. Into that vacuum stepped Antonescu. He presented himself as the man who could restore discipline, recover honor, and protect Romania from further dismemberment. Within weeks, he consolidated power, sidelined political opposition, and transformed Romania into a military dictatorship. He assumed the title Conductor, the leader, and ruled with near absolute authority. To Antonescu, power was not about ambition, it was about survival. And survival, he believed, required choosing the strongest ally available. That ally was Germany. Antonescu saw Adolf Hitler not simply as a partner, but as a shield. Germany, he believed, could help Romania recover lost lands, resist Soviet expansion, and secure its borders. Aligning with Berlin was, in his view, a strategic necessity rather than ideological surrender. In November 1940, Romania formally joined the Axis. German troops entered the country. Military coordination deepened. And when Operation Barbarossa began in June 1941, Romania did not hesitate. Romanian forces surged across the Prut River alongside the Wehrmacht. Their initial objective was clear: retake Bessarabia and Bukovina. But Antonescu's ambitions extended beyond recovery. Romanian armies advanced deep into Soviet territory, eventually occupying Transnistria, the region between the Dniester and Bug rivers. It was there that Antonescu's rule took on its darkest dimension. Under his authority, Romanian military and civilian administrators began deporting Jews and Roma into ghettos, camps, and forced marches across occupied territory. Thousands were killed in mass shootings. Many more died of hunger, disease, or exposure. These were not chaotic battlefield incidents. They were organized state actions carried out under Antonescu's command structure. Later, Antonescu would insist that these policies were wartime measures meant to secure the rear and prevent sabotage. But records showed that Romania's campaign of persecution often operated independently, driven not only by German pressure, but by Romanian policy itself. The soldier who believed he was defending his nation had become the leader presiding over mass violence. At first, the war seemed to justify his gamble. Romania regained territories lost to the Soviet Union. The regime projected strength. Antonescu appeared to many as the man who had restored national pride. But by 1942, the tide began to turn. The Eastern Front grew longer, harsher, and more desperate. Romanian forces, stretched thin and poorly equipped, were pushed into the brutal fighting around Stalingrad. There, 2 Romanian armies were shattered. Tens of thousands of soldiers were killed, captured, or frozen in the Russian winter. Entire divisions ceased to exist.
The defeat broke more than the army. It broke the illusion of victory. Romania's resources drained, casualties mounted, civilian morale collapsed. Behind closed doors, Antonescu began exploring diplomatic channels, quietly searching for a way to withdraw from the war without surrendering national dignity. But he would not abandon Germany outright. To him, breaking with Hitler too early risked inviting Soviet occupation, and Soviet occupation, he believed, would mean the end of Romania as an independent state. So he hesitated, and that hesitation sealed his fate. On August 23, 1944, King Michael I made his move. Backed by opposition politicians and elements of the military, the young king orchestrated a coup. Antonescu was summoned to the royal palace. During the meeting, the king demanded that he sign an immediate armistice with the Allies. Antonescu refused. Within moments, royal guards entered the room and arrested him. After nearly 4 years as dictator, his rule ended in a single afternoon. Romania switched sides in the war almost overnight. Its army began fighting German forces across Hungary and Czechoslovakia. But the shift came too late to erase the past. When the war ended, Romania found itself firmly inside the Soviet sphere of influence. A new political order demanded justice, and also demonstration. Antonescu would become both defendant and symbol. His trial before the People's Tribunal in Bucharest was public, theatrical, and politically charged. Antonescu defended himself as a patriot. Yet the verdict was inevitable: death by firing squad. And now, on this June morning in 1946, that verdict is about to be carried out. The prison courtyard is quiet, except for the sounds of boots on gravel. Guards position Antonescu before a wooden post. He stands upright, composed, the posture of a career officer still visible even in defeat. Around him, soldiers take their places. Some are veterans of the same war he once directed. Others are young men shaped by the new political reality unfolding in Romania. The command is given. Shot crack across the courtyard. Ion Antonescu falls. History did not end in that courtyard. In the decades that followed, Antonescu's legacy would be argued, reshaped, and contested. Under communist rule, he was portrayed as a fascist criminal and traitor, a warning from the past meant to legitimize the new regime. After communism collapsed, some nationalist voices attempted to recast him as a patriot who resisted Soviet domination. But documents remain, orders remain, graves remain, and they testify to a man who was not simply swept along by history, but who shaped it with his own decisions.